Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our graduation program. Thank you for participating with us today. My name is Lori Carey, and I am the CEO of Nebula Academy, Nebula Professional Development Academy, and founder of We Connect the Dots. All right, so as a social enterprise, our organizations work collaboratively to create positive impact for communities across the globe. We develop immersive learning programs for workforce readiness with a goal to build capacity for adults from all backgrounds and experience levels, resulting in rewarding careers in this fast-growing tech economy. Our nonprofit organization supports many of our participants with full and partial scholarships through grant funding, continues to build awareness and provide discovery programs for our young adults exploring careers in tech for the first time. We Connect the Dots will be delivering its 9th year of our Codathon this January, with many new students beginning their first journey with coding. Today, we're proud to present to you Nebula Academy Software Engineering Bootcamp V8, right? I got that right. V8 or is it V9? It's V8. I get lost in the numbers, guys. Sorry about that. So this is our V8 cohort, and we're going to be launching 3 new cohorts in January, but I'll speak to that in a bit. So our agenda for the next 2 hours will provide viewers the opportunity to hear from our graduates who will share their experience gained throughout the program and their final capstone projects, which they'll present their diplomas, and then we'll wrap up with final remarks with everybody. So I want to take a moment to thank my team who are committed to our mission and work tirelessly to ensure our participants have a positive experience and gain the most value in their investment in their future. The instructor team, including Eric and Abe, continue to support our graduates post the graduation through our alumni program. Anam Javed, who is my right hand supporting the business, and our lead coach supporting our students' success throughout the program through teaching soft skills and coaching sessions with our participants. Our fellows who have supported this program, both graduates of our program who are continuing to learn and develop, are Devon, and we have a new instructor, Brandon, and these are resources that are just really adding value and supporting our students throughout. I could not ask for a better group of professionals to work with. Thank you all for your hard work and your commitment to our mission. We work as an organization to make the experience online feel as much as in person as possible. So utilizing Microsoft Teams as our instruction and collaboration platform, that really enables our team to support our students in and out of the classroom. In order to create a positive learning experience, we train and really do a live by our code of conduct that instills psychological safety for our students and our entire team. Excuse me. We want everyone to have the support they require to be successful, and that's a combined effort, not only from our students, but their classmates and their entire team collectively to drive the outcomes required for this group to get through the program, to graduate and find employment where they can apply their new skills. You will hear firsthand today how this group became a family unit to support each other, and that relationship is for a lifetime. Relationships like this are difficult to come by and are required in today's modern workforce, where relationships are key to not only being successful in their role as a software engineer, but to support each other along their career journeys. When selecting candidates for this program, we look for participants that have that motivation and drive to be successful, where we can see the potential that they may not see yet or recognize yet. Our priority is to shape a cohort where there is a balance of diversity in how they think and solve problems and the unique life experience that make them stand out. Our program is truly unique, and it's difficult to compare to its typical coding bootcamps on the market today. We're not selecting candidates by their coding skills that they've already obtained, but the potential they have to excel in the field post-graduation. Employers should today know that the best skilled coders does not always make the best employees or team members on a software engineering project team. Employers seek to hire candidates that have completed a bootcamp, understand how to work on a team, how to collaborate and solve critical problems together, and how to work in a software development lifecycle, and have a strong communication skill where they can clearly articulate their code and their thought process for problem solving. Today, you will see and hear firsthand the results of our unique program approach and why the work we do is so critical in today's evolving workforce. The curriculum provides a scaffolding approach to building on each module, injecting projects where students apply the new skills along the way. They are learning how to present their ideas, their challenges, and express their problem-solving approach. It's amazing to watch that transformation from the very first projects that they work on to their final capstone project. The failures along the way build resiliency, grit, and tenacity to keep going. The feeling of accomplishment and seeing their skills evolve by watching not only their own transformation, but the transformation of their classmates is inspiring. It requires strong communication skills to be able to work with others and express your opinion in a professional manner, understanding the value of failure and how to push beyond what you think you're capable of doing. These graduates learned through the program what it's like to work on a team and to manage their time, to break down tasks into smaller components, to reach their goals, and to learn how to learn. By understanding the learning process and teaching psychological safety integrated into our training programs, we build capacity for self-awareness and strong communication skills. Through neuroscience research and the research behind learning, we design experiential learning programs that incorporate knowledge construction and support collaborative problem solving. These graduates, like all of our cohorts, have the opportunity to work on projects where they are able to get creative and demonstrate their new skills through their own interests. But we need to stretch beyond these small projects and ensure our graduates are ready for the workforce, that they can bring value to businesses immediately upon hiring. Our capstone project is that culminating project where they learn real-world application, working in a full software development lifecycle, creating a minimal viable product, or MVP, that they can use to demonstrate their capability and share in their portfolio, and having engaging conversations and interviews and potential employers about their experience as a software engineer. So as I hand off the presentation to our graduates to share their experiences and their accomplishments, I want each of you to know that as you close this one chapter in your journey, our team and organization are here to support you and be a part of your ongoing success and challenges as you build amazing careers and create sustainable lives for yourself and for your families. With that, I'd like to hand it off to Eric Durr, our software engineer instructor, who will provide a more detailed technical overview of the capstone project and introduce you to our graduates. Eric, off to you.
Hi, everyone. So this cohort was tasked with building a Pern full stack web application where users can track their daily mood and view a breakdown of their moods in an easy to read visual. So the platform allows users to create an account using a Gmail account and create daily entries where they can track their mood and the description of the day. So the inspiration for this application came from a need for a better way to journal events and track your daily mood for mental health. The application not only tracks journals and moods, but displays the information in an easy to read pie chart where users can view a breakdown of their moods. With the year coming to a close, users can view their yearly entries and reflect over the past year. After discussing how the mood tracking app would work, the students began wireframing the application using Figma. This allowed the students to visualize what the project was going to look like and help cement what components need to be created in the front end. The students collaborate together in a Microsoft Teams environment, utilizing industry tools such as DevOps, Git, and GitHub. As per the Pern stack, the students use Postgres for their database, Node.js and Express for the API, and React for the front end. Through persistent collaboration and drive, the students were able to bring this idea to life as a full stack application. So we are proud to present Nebula Academy's Software Engineering Bootcamp graduates. So to start off about the capstone, I'm going to hand it off to Juan for the student presentation.
Hello, everyone. My name is Juan Sanchez, and welcome to the V8 Capstone project. To start off, I'd just like to start off with a little bit about myself. I'm the eldest of 10 siblings, 8 boys and 2 girls. I'm also father to Liana Eva, which is my 15-month-old daughter. And I also try to send positive energy to those around me and to those who I meet, because you never know who might need it. And the way that I stumbled into Nebula Academy was that I had hoped to find someone in the tech industry that I knew to recommend me to a boot camp. But unfortunately, I didn't know anyone at that time. So what I did, which is what normally everyone does, is I just went to trusty old Google and Googled it. So Nebula Academy popped up on the first page. So I visited their website and I liked what I saw, I liked what I read, and I decided to sign up for more information. Now, when I first started the program, I felt very lost and very dumb because the only coding experience that I had was from a coding game called Code Combat. Aside from that, I knew nothing else. Now, as we completed more projects, my confidence went up, but it was short-lived since every project brought additional material to learn, which was frustrating at the start, but satisfying once I knew how to implement what I learned into my code. Now, to start off with my wireframing, well, our wireframing is also just to start off what our plans for our app was going to be. And we started our wireframing in a website called Figma. And our decision for our color palette came from mycolor.space, where it's a very simple website that allows you to input a color of choice, and it returns several different color palettes for you to choose from. And we kept our selected colors in our wireframing so we wouldn't have any trouble or any inconvenience of trying to look for these colors again. Now, the logo was created by a classmate, Armani Grant, and we decided on having a front page for new members. And then once you're logged in with Google, they're taken to a member page. And once you're in the member page, you're greeted with a welcome and a random quote that generates every time you visit the website or you refresh. Now, we also decided on a multi-page application to show that users get a focused view of each page. We considered using a single page application, but at the end of it, we just decided to go on the multi-page. Now, lastly, the nav bar will be kept on top of the page, which is pretty standard for most websites. Now, for our tasks, instead of writing it down on a notebook, which was my initial thinking, we used a website that would do something similar to keep track of our tasks, which was called Azure DevOps. Now, Azure DevOps is a Microsoft SaaS, or Software as a Service, which allows for the creation of folders and assignment of created tasks. Now, I was tasked to work on the front page and the member page of the application. Now, also, I was tasked with Google OAuth, or an Open Standard Authorization Protocol. Now, you might be wondering, what is that? I have no idea what that is. Now, I'll get into more detail with that in the upcoming slides. Also, we use something called external APIs, which will also be explained later on in the slide. Now, the websites that I used for my APIs were called API Ninjas and also Giphy. Now, Google OAuth, like I said before, you might not know what this is, but Google OAuth, like I said earlier, is an open standard authorization protocol, which provides applications the ability for secure designated access. For example, when you sign into Twitter, you have the option of signing in using Google or Apple. Like so in the examples here, I have Twitter here, which almost, if you have Twitter or Instagram, you can see that it gives you the option of either logging in with Facebook, or as in Twitter, you can log in with Google, Apple, or their own way of logging in. Now, what this does is when you click on, say, the Google button, the Google sign in button, you're telling Google that it's okay for Twitter to access your profile without Twitter accessing your Google password. Now, for the Google OAuth, also, to use a login option, I first needed to obtain an API key. The Google login button connects to the Google website. Now, it also returns a response, and when the login is successful, We can find or create the user in our API so the new member can create their journals. As you can see in the left picture here, this was actually our landing page where our logo and a small summary of what the app does with styling included was implemented. Now, if you look to the bottom of that picture, you can see the small sign in Google button, where once you sign in, it takes you to the middle picture which is the member page. You can see the nav bar at the top with the tabs and the logo on the left. It gives you a big welcome. I logged in, so it says welcome Juan, and at the bottom it shows you a randomly generated quote. Now the quote is random. So if you decided you wanted to see another quote, you can just press the refresh button and it'll give you a different quote. Now for our APIs, API stands for Application Programming Interface, which enables applications to exchange data and functionality to third-party developers. For example, APIs can be used for third-party payment processing, which allows people to pay for products online without exposing any sensitive data or granting access to unauthorized individuals. As you can see here on the right, PayPal is a very popular way of securely paying for things online. I use it all the time. It tends to be my go-to for purchasing anything online. So when you click on it, for next time, when you click on it, you can think of it as a form of an API. Lastly, the external API integration, like the Google OAuth, I also needed to collect or obtain an API key for the quotes in the website. Now, the API key is like a key card to open a door and let the website know that it's me that's going in and grabbing things from it. The console log route at the bottom left has the website location and my API key where I went to access and find my quotes. Now that takes me to the end. Now, does anyone have any questions for me?
I'm going to jump in first. So great job. Just really, I want to speak to two things that you covered here. I loved how you really clearly articulated the definition of everything, and that's just so important when you start to get into these job interviews and these and talking to employers, right? To be able to have those really strong communication skills. So I guess the first question is, how much of that was built here, or how much did you bring that with you?
A lot of it. It was at the beginning, I wasn't thinking in that way until my teachers brought that up. So I made sure to implement it in the slides so anyone watching would actually understand what I'm talking about.
Good, good. And then you talked a little bit about your struggles first starting off. Was there a tipping point where you were like, all right, I get this, I'm okay? And what did we do well to help support you through those struggles?
I did go through that. In the middle of, I want to say, the gaming project going into the not Netflix, I hit the wall where I was getting frustrated and confused and convincing myself that I just can't, this is too much. So I had actually, had spoken with Anam. We did the counseling. So on our counseling days, I brought it up with her, and she had really helped me out in saying that it wasn't just me who had gone through this, that previous students felt the same way, and I wasn't the only one that felt or was in that state. So just her saying that and just giving me that pep talk really helped me out, because it gave me a wider perspective to make me to see that I'm not the only one that's going through these troubles.
Yeah, great. I'm great. I'm so glad to hear that, and we love it now. um, so, you know, before I hand it off to everybody else, one last question I have for you is, what are your plans now? What are you excited about for your next step in this journey?
So I have a pretty solid plan following now the graduation. My plans are to get my AWS certification. That's the biggest thing that I want to get after graduation. Also, I do want to do a UI UX certification that I purchased earlier a couple of months ago. So that's something that I'll be doing online as well. And I also want to start learning a couple other languages and just start some projects so I can get my head in there and see how it really is.
Excellent. I have one question from the audience out there. What was your view or opinion in working with your classmate in projects and working solo?
So at the beginning, we did our projects, our gaming project and our calculator project solo, which was nice at the beginning because you really are just at the start. So you can really focus on just what you can do without having to feel the pressure from the other students. Now, when we shifted over to our group projects with our Not Netflix and our capstone, it was a different way, which wasn't bad because it gave me an insight as to how the real world is going to be or actual job markets. So it helped me see that not everything I need to do, I have to do it by myself. Certain things will be broken up into different sections, and then the fact that you can communicate your ideas with other students. They give you a feedback, and it helps to really make you think in a different way instead of just thinking in one way, which is just your own thoughts. So it was a very enjoyable experience because for me, I had a lot of styling ideas, and when I brought it up with the other students, my classmates, it was very nice to speak about it, but also they gave me feedback about certain areas that I hadn't even thought about. So it really brought the projects together.
Excellent. And I'm sorry, I have one more question coming from the audience. So Sean's asking you, what was your favorite part about the functionality of your part of the capstone?
My favorite functionality, I would have to say it was after I was able to finish the Google Auth and get the button actually working, because it was a lot harder of a process. Because when we first decided on the Google sign-in or the Google Auth, it was voluntary. So we asked each other who wanted to do it. And I wanted to be proactive and say, oh yeah, sure, I'll do it, because I honestly didn't think too much of it. Now, until I started actually doing it, it was a lot more difficult than I thought. But after getting all the implementations done and the coding done and seeing the button actually work and log you in was so satisfying.
Yeah, it's a great dopamine effect when you're coding and you get something accomplished. It really is a wonderful feeling. And that's what generates that energy to want to learn more. I really, that's what I love about this. All right, so now I'm really done. Everybody's asked the questions from the audience, and I want to pass it off to the rest of the team here. Thanks, Juan. It's great.
Thank you. And if there's no further questions, I'll pass it on to Odalis.
So, hi everyone, my name is Odalis Novoa Reyes. I am a performing arts major at Suffolk Community College. Nebula was recommended to me by a family friend. When I first came into Nebula, I had no experience in coding, so I do relate back to what Juan said, that I did feel like I was a little behind and that I was kind of like putting myself down, but getting to know my classmates, we came to realize that we all were on the same page. My main goal after completing the program is to open up my knowledge in the tech world with the mindset on how our society is advancing. I am a first-generation female in my family to be graduating college. I will be graduating from Suffolk Community College in this coming spring, 2023, which I'm extremely excited about. I love staying active, playing volleyball, basketball, soccer. I had studied Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for a little bit until I got an injury. A fun fact about me is that I always keep myself busy. While taking the program, I was juggling college life and also 2 jobs. After completing the program, I had seen I am more into the back end, creating all like the ERD tables, which I will get into in my next slide. So just like Juan said, we did use Figma. We collaborated with each other using Figma. We all got like a basic idea on how we wanted our app to function. We did meet after class hours to discuss our ideas and come up with solutions as well, like functionality and styling. The picture that you see here is one of my tasks, which is like a pie chart and how we wanted it to be displayed on our app. So going on to my first task. At first, we created ERD tables, which we did as a team. And an ERD is just a graphical representation that shows you a relationship between each object in this project, that being user and journal. After creating the ERD tables, I had sort of like a visualization on what I needed to put into the data tables, that being like the info, like full name, age, date of birth, email, as well as journals. We wanted the title, entry, color, and emoji to be added. A definition of what a SQL is, it's just that it's a JavaScript library that you are able to create and query a relational database. After creating the data tables, I did create dummy data, which is called seeded data. It's just made up users. That way we are able to pull and see if our app was running the correct way. So I created a server using Express and implemented different routes. Get request is just a read we get on the data, and delete is delete. As you can see, the listen down at the bottom, the last line of code, is just a message for us developers to get on our terminals, just so we know that our app is running and it didn't crash or there wasn't an error that came up. I created the app using different routes, a CRUD application. CRUD is basically, you want to create the journals, read the journals, update or edit the journals. And if you don't want the journals, then we just delete it. And for queries, we made a request on our database from our server, and we did make our coding dynamic. And by dynamic, I mean the code is the same function that will work with all the tables. Depending on the table name, that's how it is targeted. It's based on like the table ID. And for the last part of my task was D3. I would say out of this whole project, I think D3 was like my toughest because it was just something new to me that we didn't really talk to about in class. I did have to download D3. And if you don't know what D3 is just a JavaScript library and framework for creating visualization. D3 visualizes by binding the data, the graphical elements to document object model. D3 associates the data with DOM, and D3 is data driven and document, which is just so you know. Basically what all like the coding is showing you right on the left, yes, left, it's basically just what we want the pie chart to do. So every time a user would make a journal entry with an emoji, they would have to be, every time a user would make a journal entry based on the emoji that they choose, it will update the pie chart, and it will also keep track on to how many times the user has input that same emoji, and will keep on updating every time after they do a journal entry. That is all of my task in this capstone. Are there any questions?
All right, I'm going to jump in again. All right, congratulations, Adelis. I love that fact that you discovered the back end because that's really, it's interesting to, I always love hearing from students about which was the front end, back end, or both. Where do you kind of land? And you don't know until you jump in, right? Because how can you decide that, right? So sometimes when people take programs, they go specifically at front end or back end. And that's why I love the full stack, because it exposes students to everything. And then you get to decide where you think you have the strongest interest or desire to go deeper, right? So kudos to you for kind of bringing that out quickly. Juggling a lot of stuff for this experience. How did we help support that for you, I guess, and making sure that you could do all that while you were doing this program?
The way that I was able to juggle like college, basically from the start of like the program, I was just finishing my spring semester, so it wasn't really interfering with like the class times. I am extremely grateful to have like my 2 jobs. I'm extremely grateful to have managers that were understanding. I just told them like, oh, I'm not going to be able to be here like these days. I know I'm not going to be offering a lot of hours for you guys, but like it's just that this is something I need to do, and it's for me to like keep on advancing with my knowledge and my studies. And they completely understood that, and I'm just so glad. My family also like supports me as much as they can. And with the program, there were office hours. My classmates are amazing. We would help each other out as well, and the professors are amazing too. When you think that you're the only one that doesn't understand a certain material, it's not true. Basically all of us kind of like we're on the same page, and it just takes one of us to like raise our hand to ask if we could get a further explanation on a certain topic or like a code line. And I'm actually like, at the beginning, I thought I was like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do college? How am I going to do the 2 jobs? How am I going to do the program? But once I lined up and like created my schedule and talked with everyone, it like worked out pretty well.
Well, congratulations. That's a lot to accomplish. So you have a lot to be grateful for, and a wonderful family. That's amazing. Not everybody has that support behind them, so you're very lucky. Okay. And I think there's one question from Juan asking, what are your goals after graduating?
Well, since I'm graduating from Nebula right now, I am gonna keep on like going like into Code Wars, because that's like something that has helped me a lot. I'm gonna keep my AWS as well. I really do want to get like the AWS certificate, and I do want to finish my spring semester, which I'm going to be graduating in 2023 for my performing arts major. I did talk with my professors Eric and Abe how I do want to like keep on applying for jobs, because I do know there's like a certain time until we hear a call back. So while I'm still like going to college, I know that I have my job applications going through, and that way if I hear back, I'm not like falling behind, or I don't take that much of a break that I feel rusty once I do get like a call back.
Yeah, I don't want to lose momentum. That's really important. Yeah. So, all right, I'm going to hand it off to the rest of the team with any other questions. Abe or Eric?
Yep, I have one. So as I continue on with like what you want to do after graduation, as far as like front end versus back end, I want to get your thoughts. So you got a good taste of both in this capstone, and you worked a lot in the back end. The other 2, not as much. You've kind of focused mostly on that, but you had a little front end work also with the D3. So I was curious, like going forward in a future job, if you could pick, front or back, or even full stack, which way you kind of lean.
Well, being that the program offered both front and back end, I do like the back end more than the front end. But if there were like a job opportunity that is not like one that I want to pass by, I know the front end as well. I'm willing to like actually doing both, if that makes sense. I'm like open to either one, but I do tend to go more towards the back end. There's something about creating the ERD tables that I really like, and doing all of that.
Awesome. And I want to piggyback off that with 2 comments from the chat. Is there a project in particular that made you realize that you had a preference to work on the back end? And then also, what project did you enjoy working on the most?
Well, I feel like the one that I knew more about, like the back end, it wasn't really a project. It was more like when we were in class and we were creating like a mock like employee app and we were just creating like the data tables. I kind of like saw how I like caught on really quick on it and I actually really liked doing it. So I would say from like that like lesson that we had and then going into like the capstone and having the opportunity to do the back end, that's when I like offered myself and being like, yes, I'll do the back end to keep on going with it. My favorite project, apart from like my solo projects, I did like the calculator because it was our first project and it was like a first achievement for myself because I'm like, okay, I'm getting the hang of this. Like, I know what I'm doing, but I do tend to go more towards the team projects because I like collaborating with more than more than like just my own opinion because it brings more great ideas and it just like much better interacting with one another. Okay. Are there any more questions? If not, I would like to pass it on to my classmate Armani Grant.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Armani Grant, and I would like to introduce you to my part of the project. To start out, I would like to give you guys some information about me. Prior to this coding bootcamp, I had no coding experience. The program was recommended to me from a family friend. Another fact about me is I've been a gamer for most of my life. I've been playing video games since I was 4 years old. To this day, I still remember the first two games I used to play, which were Sonic the Hedgehog and Spider-Man, which at the time was my favorite superhero. Another fact about me is I'm very athletic. In school, I played basketball, baseball, and I ran track. I don't play baseball or run track anymore, but to this day, I still play basketball occasionally. Another fact about me is I'm an upskill graduate from the We Connect the Dots program, which is also recommended to me from the same family friend. That program sparked my interest in website design, and this coding bootcamp continued to further my knowledge in the subject. And my final fact about me is I like to design sneakers in my personal time. I've actually bought 3 custom-made sneakers that I designed myself. My Figma. For each part of our Figma, we all came up with ideas and collaborated for each one of them. So for the journal page, we all came up with different emotions we wanted to describe. And we listed them out here, as you can see, but we decided to limit it to only 5 for now, and eventually we want to expand upon it. Also, originally, we were going to do the emojis above the journal, but we decided to make changes later on, as you will see further on in the project. My tasks were to create a nav bar and routes. My second task was to create the journal page with the post request to push up data to the database, adding animations and styling, and to import emojis from Font Awesome. Routes and navbar. I created routes for each page using React Browser Router. For those of you who don't know how Browser Router works, it pretty much modifies the URL to your website to change the page and show different information without having to reload the page. So this application by default is an MPA, or a multi-page application. Each route is linked up to a button, which are these buttons up here. The journal, pie chart, and even the logo is also linked. The logo leads back to your landing page. Importing emojis. To get the emojis to appear on screen, I had to go to Font Awesome's website and copy code to install the data packages. From the data packages, I would then have to call upon them. I called upon them by using an emoji object, listing the emoji I wanted and the color of the emoji. That would then store to the journal API. The emojis are also animated. They come from off screen and move to the center of the page once you load into it. And the logo is also animated, and I animated that using Canva, a separate design website. My final task was posting to the database. I had to collect the data from the API of the journal page, which previously you just saw all the emojis, the emoji object. So far, once you click on the emoji, it stores all that information and brings you to this page, which isn't a separate page. It's actually still all a part of the journal route. The journal route works by steps. And steps, each step triggers by a certain event. So once you click on journal, the emojis will show. And once you actually click on an emoji, then it will show the actual journal itself. Once you type in the title of your journal and then write in your entry, you would then have to click the post button. By clicking the post button sends a HTTP post request to the database. So all your information up until this point will go from the front end to Odalis's back end, and it will check all the properties of it to make sure it matches up with Odalis's back end, and it'll be sent back up to the front end. Once the journal is submitted, a pop-up notification will appear letting you know it's been successfully submitted, and it will bring you straight to the pie chart page. To close out my presentation, I would like to actually do a demo of our application. So this is the landing page that you will see when you first click on the link. And from here, you sign in with your Google account. Since I've already signed in with my Google account, it will automatically log me in. This is our welcome page designed by Juan. The animations on the logo, and from here you will go to your journal. Today, the emotion we're going to go with is excited. And the title of the journal would be graduation. Today, I am excited for my future in website development. From here, you click on the post button. Here's the pop-up notification. And here's our pie chart. Also, there's a hover effect on each journal to add additional styling and to make the website look more professional. From here, I would like to pass. Oh, are there any questions?
All right, great job, Armani, and I'm super proud of Armani because he, as he mentioned to you, he's a graduate of our upskill program, and he actually works part-time for We Connect the Dots and has done some work for Nebula as well. So he's been just a huge asset, and just couldn't be prouder of what he's accomplished over the past year and in this program. So congratulations, Armani. And so you've learned so much in the past in this time frame here. What can you, I guess, share to students, young students coming in about your journey and about what they might be thinking about the possibilities of doing this? What would you tell them?
I would tell them to find what you're particularly interested in. Try a little bit of everything. Don't go into this program thinking you only like a certain thing. Keep an open mind to everything. And once you find exactly what you're interested in, keep pursuing it. Don't give up. Even if you may come into a struggle, it's not permanent. You could always seek out help. And once you actually solve that issue, you learn a lot from it. And there's a lot of growth mentally. That's advice I would give them.
Excellent. That's great advice. Love it. All right, I'm going to pass over to Abe and to Eric for other questions.
Yeah, there's a lot of audience questions, but I do have a personal question. I'm very curious as to know what is the biggest lesson you learned either from this capstone project or from this course in the past year in general?
From the capstone? The biggest thing I've learned is kind of similar to what I just mentioned. Don't give up, because a particular struggle of mine was the game project, because I thought it would be a lot simpler than what it actually was. And then at a certain point, I kind of felt overwhelmed and I had to take a break from my computer for a bit. But a turning point for me was when I actually saw my character move for the first time, which really got me excited and kept me going to keep pushing forward. And once I got through that and I got it moving, I felt proud of it. So my main gain from this is don't give up. Keep going, keep learning, keep growing mentally.
Love it.
Dave, do you want to cover the questions in the from the audience as well?
Yeah, sure. So from Juan, we have between the front end and back end, do you have a preference, and why?
I prefer front end. I like seeing my changes immediately. So like adding different colors and playing around with it is extremely interesting to me. Also animations, that's something I spent a good amount of time learning on. I actually a personal project of mine is I want to create my own music app using React. So I'm currently working on that. That's pretty much why front end is my favorite.
That's amazing. And also you answered basically every question in the queue, because the next question was, what was your favorite part of the capstone? You touched on it with animations, and what do you see yourself learning next on your own? And you talked about making the music app. But is there any like technology you want to dive into, or any like language or framework that you're like, that you want to, explore with the music app, let's say, or anything else?
I was interested in learning Angular because when I was applying for jobs, I kept seeing it. So that was an interest of mine. Also, I wanted to take UI UX design courses to get different certifications under my belt to further my career.
Love it.
And I'm going to add one more comment from the audience from the Council of Thought and Action, CODA. The support and networking brothers and sisters are very proud of you. So congratulations from CODA.
Thank you.
And apparently Ms. Lewis has one more question. Would you be interested in joining a startup website design group?
Sure. Okay, are there any more questions?
I have one more. Kind of what Lori was saying too about like advice to students. So there's maybe possible future students, in the audience, and there's current students in V9 watching. I'm curious, did you ever have like throughout the course like that moment when you kind of just like had like a panic attack and you're like, this is not what I signed up for, and kind of freaked out? Because when I went through my boot camp, I for sure had that. I know a lot of other people. At some point, you're going to have that I'm freaking out, like I made a terrible choice kind of thing. And you kind of like second guess yourself because you're kind of overwhelmed. I'm curious, did you ever have that? If so, when in the curriculum did that kind of hit you? And then for the students watching, like, how did you kind of get through that?
I didn't completely have a moment like that. Like I said, the game project has stressed me out because I wasn't sure if I was going to get anything viable to use to show off, because we always have to present our projects. But I would say make sure you go to office hours and seek help from your teachers if you feel like you're struggling, because a lot of times your teachers will help you and they'll be able to solve your issue or help walk you through it and provide you with a source to get through it. If you sit there and struggle in silence and they don't know what's going on, they can't help you. So that's definitely something they can do.
Great advice there, Armani.
Okay, if there aren't any more questions, I would like to pass it to Lori Carey.
All right. Okay, so the big moment. So great job, everyone. Now we'd like to distribute the virtual diplomas. As an organization, it's really important for our team that every graduate feels proud of their accomplishment. Typically, the graduation ceremony provides that opportunity. So due to the ongoing challenges with COVID and delivering this program virtually, we kind of transformed our graduation process to show the graduates how important this accomplishment is to our team and to them. So sometime this week, many of the students were hand-delivered their diplomas with some gifts from our team. And so we hope that doing that really helps you to culminate that experience. And now we're going to present you a digital diploma with some closing comments from Abe. So I'm going to hand off to Abe.
Hello. Yeah, I'm here to present diplomas. So the first one I want to present to is Juan Sanchez. Thank you so much for your curiosity and courage. Saturday classes, we would have never made it through unless you were like willing to raise your hand to ask the questions that everyone was thinking of. And it really, taking that first step is very beneficial, like to schedule meetings for your team. And I'm just very grateful. Thank you for the, awesome, amazing work. Cool. Odalis, you're an amazing problem solver. It's amazing to see you juggle so many different things and to still stay on top of it and really just like learn and thrive. And it's just again, congratulations on everything that you've been working on, and I'm very excited to see what's up for you next. So congratulations, Odalis. And last but certainly not least, Armani. We could say a whole bunch of things about Armani. Amazing student to work with, but like the thing I really want to highlight is amazing work ethic, just day after day, continuing to iterate, even when like past projects being due, to just continue to like, oh, I want to learn about animations and that type of stuff. And those types of, steps and intuitions, those steps forward really will provide you a lot of success. So congratulations, Armani. Cool. And I will pass it back now to Lori to wrap it up for us.
All right, thanks, Abe. That was great. Great comments. All right, so closing remarks. I'd like to really thank our supporters who make it possible for our organization to create these positive outcomes that result in building the much needed capacity for businesses and to ensure we build more diverse workforce in tech. Without their support, this program would not be possible. So thank you to all of our supporters. Thank you for being a part of today's program. For those watching, we look forward to seeing you again next year as we celebrate our next cohorts at their graduation ceremony. We have a part-time cohort beginning in January, a full-time cohort starting in February. So we'll have V9, sorry for the number mix-up, I get confused sometimes what number we're at. So V9, so V8's graduating today, V9 is coming up. They're already in their middle of their program, and they'll be graduating next year, and followed by V10 and V11 in 2023. So we just are super excited to continue the momentum and keep impacting these individuals. And then finally, just to close out the day here, once again, congratulations to our graduates. We're just so excited to watch where you take this journey next. So with that, we'll let everybody we'll say goodbye to the folks listening online, and we'll keep our group here just together because we usually have some closing internal comments. So we'll say goodbye to our audience and end the live event. Thanks for joining us again.